Hi. The phone just told me that my internet connection was not so great, but I think I'm live. Hi. Those of you that don't know me that might be here, my name is Sophia Ramolde, and I am on Facebook Live today for the first time ever to talk about my pilgrimage project. And Gillian's here! Hi! Oh my gosh, this is really exciting. I don't know if I should start, but yeah, so I'm embarking on this new project. Oh my gosh, hi Becky! And oh my gosh. I am seeing people pop up, and I just want to say again, I've never done this before, so bear with me. But it's super amazing. Hi, Tashi. Gretchen! This is like a super party. I love this. Okay, but I'm going to start talking because I have so much that I want to share with you, and so I'm going to dive right in. But if there's anyone that doesn't really know me, and I know, hi! Some of you are new friends. I'm Sophia Ramolde. People call me Sophie. And I am a multimedia artist, a writer, and a healer, and a humongous proponent of human potential. And so I started this new project, and it is brand new. So I'm really, really excited. Oh good, Facebook keeps congratulating me. Okay, I'm getting distracted. Okay, so I'm doing this new project, and I'm really excited to share it. Because people keep asking me, I've been kind of like in and out, and so if you know me, there's been periods of times where I've kind of disappeared. Some people know me but have no idea what I do. And the questions I get asked most are, where are you? What are you doing? And how are you doing that? So I wanted to talk about that first. And so right now I am in Crestone, Colorado, beautiful Crestone, Colorado. And I kind of live out here now, which a lot of you know I used to live in New York. And I left the city to go on this amazing journey, which I realize has sparked everything and this entire new thing that I'm doing in my life. And so what am I doing? Well, I'm doing lots of different things, but I'm excited to share this because I feel like it is a synthesis of everything that not everything I love, but a lot of things that I really love, and something that I feel like is going to be it's kind of like an amazing revolutionary experiment, I think. And I'll get to that in a second. And I'll get to the how I'm doing it too. But what I realized is that in 2014, I went to work in Japan, and I had like manifested this amazing project whereupon I was asked to go over to dance with robots and learn Buto. And so it was incredible because it was I was so interested in doing that, and I got this opportunity to go over there and do this project that meant so much to me. And while I was over in Japan in 2014, that's when everything blew up. My entire life changed really, really dramatically, and it kind of imploded actually on itself. And yeah, everything went wacko, and I was in a country where I didn't speak the language very well. It's where my mother was born. She was born in Osaka, and so I had this connection to it, but I felt really, really lost. And then I went on a couple accidental pilgrimages, hence the pilgrimage project. So the first one I went on, I didn't realize was really a pilgrimage, but it was a personal pilgrimage. And what I ended up doing was retracing the roots of my mother, Sumi, who a lot of you know. Hi, Katie! Who knows Sumi really well. She's a force of nature. And while I was in Japan, I went down to Osaka. I watched some crazy, amazing bunraku puppetry with my friends Jana and Earl. Jana is doing her PhD on that, and watching bunraku for 10 hours is like tripping out on acid. But anyway, I went back to Osaka, where my mother was born, and then I went to Seoul, Korea, where she grew up. And I didn't really realize I was doing it at the time. Basically, my friend Miyu was like, you have to go to Korea. You're like right there. Why aren't you going? But then I realized I had all these blocks as to why I wasn't going. And Natsumi-san was in Osaka with us too, watching Bunraku. And so when I went to Korea, I ended up meeting my family, my mother's siblings, and then their kids and everybody for the first time. A lot of them for the first time. And this is when my life changed. By going there, I didn't know what I was going or what I would find, but what I found was unconditional love. And maybe that sounds cheesy, but I went there and, I spoke Korean, even less than Japanese. I was in the process of things starting to get really quite difficult in my life. And I went there, and my Korean family just loved me so much. They fed me so much that actually, it filled me up so much that I just started to cry. There needed to be an outlet for all of the food and love, and just, I think, I was experiencing also on an energetic level, where my mother was from. And where I grew up, it was all white people, and so I, for a lot of my life, felt really disconnected also from my heritage. So I just cried for 8 days straight with my family, and when I left, that was when I realized what unconditional love was, and that feeling that I had, that feeling that, these people, they didn't know me, and yes, I'm family, but, besides blood, there was no reason why they should have been so kind and so giving. My mother's older brother, his wife, so her sister-in-law, is in her 80s, and she would show up every day, and she would she would clean the house, she would make me breakfast, she would wake me up, sometimes she would brush my hair. I think she thought I was messy, and she would come every day and do this, and then take the subway 40 minutes back home. This is a woman, I don't know where she got her energy from, but I can only feel like it was from love. And my whole family was like that. My cousin's husband, who was taking off work just to show me around, it was incredible. And so when I went back to Japan to go back to this job, and parts of my life, I realized how many areas of my life I did not have that unconditional love. And it included in things I was doing, work-wise, in relationships I had, but more so I realized I didn't always have that unconditional love for myself, and that kindness and that compassion. I didn't treat myself anywhere as nice as, my family did, my family who didn't even know me prior to that moment. And so everything then started to change. And that is also when things started to crumble. So relationships fell apart. I ended up going and quitting the job, the Buto and robotics job, while I was over there, because what I also realized was I had recently graduated from grad school. I got this amazing MFA in performance and interactive media arts, so performance and technology. Like I said, I had done my thesis dancing with robots and on immigration, and then I right away, got this amazing opportunity to go work in Tokyo. And I just realized, everything seemed like it was going up and up. I had amazing relationships in my life, career stuff was awesome. I was going up this set of stairs. And then after going to Korea, I realized I was on an escalator. I was no longer on stairs. I was just being taken up to this place that I could see ahead of me. I didn't know it was there, but my heart was left on the floor, right before you get on the escalator and it starts to move. My heart was on that metal thing, and I could see myself getting further and further away from it and going to this unknown future that something in me just didn't sit right. And so I had to quit. I had to quit the job I went over there for. So, I also, my financial situation went totally out the window. The job was over. I was isolated in this country where I didn't speak the language. my back and neck went out in a recurring injury that I've had, so I was laying on the floor for weeks and weeks and weeks, and just everything. I thought I was dying. I thought I will die here in this apartment in Tokyo, and no one will know, because I'm by myself, and I'll just die here. But instead, through this miraculous sequence of events, I started to listen to Alan Watts, who, if you don't know him, which I didn't at the time, he is an amazing spiritual philosopher. He studied all kinds of religions, but he's also largely responsible for bringing Buddhism to a West in a way, for translating it for people so they can understand it. And he was like big in like the 60s and 70s, so he's like super out there, but I just laid on the floor for weeks and listened to him. And then when I met up, finally I was able to leave the apartment to go see Jana, who was doing a Bunraku puppetry show. She was doing this amazing chanting. And when I went, her and her husband Earl, they were like, "What are you doing?" The question everyone asked me. I said, "Well, I'm in pain, everything's falling apart, and I'm laying on the floor listening to Alan Watts." Yay! Alicia's here. And Alicia also came to Osaka with Natsumi to watch the puppets that Jana is studying. So I'm at the point in the story where I meet up with Jana, and basically her and her husband Earl are like, "Well, you have no job, you have nothing." They were like, "You have to go on this pilgrimage." And so they told me about the Shikoku pilgrimage. Yay, there's little hearts flying through the air. So in May of 2014, on Jana and Earl's miraculous, it was a miracle suggestion, they said, "You have to go on this pilgrimage," and I said, "Okay, I'm going. I have nothing else to live for," basically. So I'm going, and they were like, "Well, you know, it's really difficult. You might want to go for a little while." And I was like, "Yeah, well, I have 27 days until Bambina and Alicia, you know, come visit me in Tokyo, so I'll go for 27 days. And they were like, "Well, maybe you should go for like 5 or something. It's really hard. Like, people train for months and months at a time. It takes 40 to 60 days to walk. You know, you might want to just ease into it." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." So I went home and I found this book that my beautiful sister Alicia got me, and it was like a huge book all about Japan. And I hadn't really looked at it, to be quite honest. Like, I hadn't really looked at it at all. But when I went home, it was sitting on the table, and I thought, like, well, let me just open it. Maybe this thing is in here. And I opened it. There was a page that was bookmarked, and it was for the Shikoku pilgrimage. I must have done it in my sleep, or being on the airplane in some weird fit of crazy, but it was clear that I was supposed to go. So this was the second pilgrimage that I ended up going on during this time. The first one to kind of accidentally retrace my roots and discover unconditional love, and then this one in Shikoku to kind of undo everything that I thought was true about the universe. I didn't know that that's what I was doing, but that's what I was doing. And so I went on this pilgrimage, and man, everything changed. I course corrected what was like a burning spaceship of my life, like going down in flames and like hitting me repeatedly, to being here in Crestone, Colorado, and on this like miracle, magical journey doing so many things I love. Oh my gosh, there's so many amazing stories I could tell you from the pilgrimage and why it was so amazing. Because what happened was I ended up doing it. Like I said, it takes 40 to 60 days to walk this pilgrimage in Japan on Shikoku Island. And when I went, I said, well, I have 27 days, so I'll do 24, and then I'll take 3 days and go to this art island. It's all this outdoor art and architecture. It's like a smaller northern island above Shikoku. And I said, so I'll just get as far as I can get in 24 days. And, you know, like my old, like, New Yorker me, or like the me that was always here, was like, but yeah, you should do the whole thing, and like, you know, maybe you should go really fast and blah, blah, blah. But there was this other side of me that was so broken. I was like, you know, I'm just gonna go as slow as I possibly can. I'm going to like Buto walk this pilgrimage and like go like slower than I even think possible, and I'll get to where I get to, and that will have to be okay, you know. And like there's this whole culture around the pilgrimage where, you know, all these pilgrims go, and so, you know, you'll meet up with pilgrims and you'll go for a while until it's clear that, you know, you are on different paces or different paths, and then you'll split up and then you'll join new people and blah 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 blah. So I also said to myself, you know, if I meet up with people, then I will try to figure out what their pace is, because clearly my pace in my life was killing me. So maybe it'll be helpful for me to like jump on someone else's pace for a little while, figure out what their time signature is, and then I'll know when it's time to, you know, do my own thing. So those were like my two goals I had, and it is crazy, but I ended up finishing the pilgrimage in exactly 24 days, like I said, not my own doing necessarily. Spent 3 days on Naoshima, the art island. Hi, Polly, thank you. Oh, I wish I could see you all and that you could all see each other. And that we could all talk. This is how this is happening. Yay, Facebook Live. So I'm talking about the Shikoku pilgrimage. I finished in 27 days, went to Naoshima, the art island, for 3 days, went back to Tokyo, and that was when I realized that the changes in my life that had kind of been happening and felt really horrible and sad and like breaking, actually I needed to be a conscious arbiter of change in my own life, and I need to fill it only with the things that I felt that unconditional love in Korea for, and if I didn't feel that, I wasn't doing it, no matter what it was. And yeah, and so I have some real angels to thank on that pilgrimage, because it wasn't that I walked really fast that I did the pilgrimage in 24 days. It was that people picked me up along the way, and one in particular, I'll tell this story real quick, is Hashimoto-san. And Hashimoto-san owned a bunch of properties on Shikoku Island, including a minshuku, which is where the pilgrims, you can go and stay. It's kind of like a hostel or a hotel for pilgrims. And so I went during the rainy season because it's not my choice, but I tend to do things off the beaten path. And I went during the rainy season, so there was like no one around. So it was few and far between that I actually met up with other pilgrims. But but I ended up staying at this minshuku that Hashimoto-san owned, and Nakia-san, she ran it. And so it was just the three of us, and we ended up having dinner together and talking, and they became my angels. And so Hashimoto-san hysterically drove a silver Mercedes-Benz, and he would drive around the island and he would like call me, and he'd be like, "Where are you?" And I'd be like, "Well, I'm on the pilgrimage. I think I'm around temple, I don't know, 47. And he would come and he would drive in the car and he would pick me up and he would take me as far as he could go. He wasn't even a pilgrim. He would just drop me off. He'd say, "Go do your pilgrim thing," and I would go do it, and I'd get back in the car. And so there I was, this dirty, sad, poor, wandering pilgrim riding around in a Mercedes-Benz and going out to temples and then getting in. And then he would leave and he would go back to his life, and then I would keep walking, and just like that I ended up finishing the pilgrimage in exactly the time that I had imagined, and I did it with ease, and it was so full of love, and it was fun, and it was difficult, but amazing. And so what I'm talking about now is the project that I'm doing now, because it's a couple of years now since I did that pilgrimage, and I've realized so much about the world, and I want to share it with people. And so, you know, it occurs to me that all my life, really, I've been studying and practicing these different somatic and perceptual and healing and energetic practices. I started dancing when I was 2. My sister, who's 4 years older and is here and is awesome, was in dance school, and I was 2, and I went and I was watching her at Verna's dance studio through the little window, and I was bopping around, you know, and like moving around, and my mother was joking and said to Verna, you know, can she join the dance class too? And Verna said if she's potty trained, she can dance. And so at age 2, I started dancing. And I'll tell you, I was never really good at like classical dance, like ballet or tap or all. I did all that, and I don't know, I have some kind of issue directionally or something. I'm not that great at it, but I kept dancing and moving all my life. Thank you, I love you. Hi, monkeys. I love you, Gerald. So, you know, I've kept doing these different practices, and so when I found these Japanese practices like Buto and Noguchi Taiso and all these things that really, so Noguchi Taiso connects the body to the earth, and basically one uses gravity in which to initiate movement. And so you're actually using your movement in a really efficient way. You're moving with the earth, and so you're really kind of channeling other energies up through your body that initiate your movement through life. It is a beautiful practice. And as is Buto, which comes at it from a really different way. It comes from the inside, so your internal feelings and images and thoughts and emotions come out through the movement, and also perceptually you take in, you can train to take in everything in the surrounding universe. And yay! Feisty, I love you, you go dance your butt off. She has to go to dance class, which I love. And so Buto, you're actually like taking in everything from all around the universe, and including even the spirit world, if you want to go there. You channel that through, and that comes through your body. So this is what I've been studying, and then as a lot of you know, I've become a Reiki master, so I've also been studying energy and how that works. And in particular, I did this amazing project last March and April with the amazing and beautiful and illustrious Leah Shelton in Australia. I was commissioned to go out there, and we did this really deep somatic and energetic work with the earth, where we're researching how to understand the energy fields of human beings in relationship to sites of environmental decay and destruction. So we went to some pretty serious sites like mining sites, an island that used to be for prisoners. We went to some toxic dumping sites, and we really got in there with our bodies and feeling the energy and feeling what that's like, so we can better understand how to translate for people how we really do have a visceral energetic relationship to the earth. So these are all things that I've been doing and practicing and training in, and then all of a sudden, now I'm going on a pilgrimage again. This happened also in a kind of spectacular, synchronicitous way, where I literally asked if there was going to be a pilgrimage, and then there was one from the people that I asked it from. And, I just got a phone call, sorry. I'm going to India, and there's a pilgrimage being led by Dhamse Jampal Norbu, and it's with Mangala Shri Bhuti, who I have been deeply studying Buddhism with this group of people and our teacher, Venerable Dzigar Kongsho Rinpoche, and deep into studying Vajrayana Buddhism, and how that really explains a lot about the way our world functions. And so I'm going on this new pilgrimage, and what I want to do is, it's also bookended by these other journeys. I am, I love you. Before that, I'm here in Crestone and doing this amazing mind training. And Crestone, I've talked about it before, but it is basically, it's incredible. There's nothing like it in the world. It is the land, it was an ancient Native American healing ground, and now it is a home to over 30 different spiritual centers, educational and environmental groups, and so there's all these different traditions that are practicing on this land that have upheld this energy and this spirit, and so it's supercharged and really powerful. So I'm doing a lot of practice here and a lot of research. And so this is the first part of this pilgrimage that I'm initiating. And so what I want to do, this is what I'm proposing, and let me know in the comments if you think I'm crazy or if this sounds cool. But I want to take people with me on this pilgrimage. Oh, I didn't even tell you the whole thing. So it starts in Crestone, Colorado, then it goes to India, and it'll follow in the footsteps of Buddha Shakyamuni. And then after that, I'm going to Africa to work with the wonderful Miu, who was the one that sent me on my personal pilgrimage to Korea, as I talked about before. And Miu and I are working on a project in West Africa, and we're doing an arts festival there. And in the meantime, like coincidentally, is that the word? No, concurrently with we're doing workshops and doing performances and running this festival. It was the first ever arts festival in Burkina Faso. Did it last year. This is the second iteration. And what I'm also going to do while I'm in West Africa for a while, hi, new friends are here, I love it. This Facebook Live was really scary, and now it's not scary at all because I feel so much love and I'm so happy to see you all here. But so back to Africa is when I'm in Africa, I'm also going to do this deep research because I've been thinking a lot about how Africa is the geological origin of the world as we know it today. And so I think that that land and that earth is super powerful. It has remnants in there that you can't find anywhere else. And so then I will return back, and that's my full pilgrimage. So it is both a personal and spiritual pilgrimage. And thank you, everybody. And I want to take people. And so what I'm proposing is to take 10 virtual pilgrims. And I'm about to explain what that means. And so I also want to know from you, like, why do people go on pilgrimage? Have you ever been on one? If so, like, write me in the comments. Have you ever been on one? Why did you go? Or if you want to go, why would you want to go? Or why do you think people go? This is all part of the research. So if you have any ideas, please write to me. I'm reading all of them, even though I can't always respond because they're going so fast and so much love is like being filtered through this. But if you have any thoughts on why people go on pilgrimage or why you would want to, I would really love to hear them. I have a couple thoughts. And also, so there's this guy, his name is Bruce Feiler, and he made this excellent series. If you haven't seen it yet, oh, John, yeah, wishes he could go, because, you know, you need your own awakening, right? Like, yeah, that's why we go on pilgrimage, so that, because for me, you know, like, I think there's this sense that there's more to the world than what meets the eye. There is, you know, this can't be it. And because especially, you know, like when we look all around us and there's so much suffering, you know, like, especially right now, it feels like a really intense time. Is anyone else feeling this? Write to me, tell me. Kim went on a short one to New Mexico and Arizona. You need to find yourself in your way. It was vital. Oh, there's more coming. Yeah, to find one's way, right? Because a pilgrimage is also, I mean, it's path, right? And so, yeah, so I was talking about too, how it's kind of a dark time in some ways right now. I mean, and of course this has happened all throughout history, but for me particularly right now, you know, there's been a lot of deaths of amazing people. You know, some people in our Buddhist Sangha, to William and Charlie, like just lights in the world that are so amazing and just, you know, suddenly died. Yeah, Alicia, things are really intense. Like there's a lot of death. There's the political election, which I don't even want to mention, but we have to address it. You know, there's so much negativity coming out of that. And I really feel it weighing on people, you know. And beyond that, there's like these geomagnetic storms happening in the atmosphere. I mean, it gets crazy. It goes from the mundane, like the daily suffering that I know we all experience, to geomagnetic storms that are apparently giving us a physical upgrade in our endocrine system, but are like going to be really painful to go through. So there's all of this happening right now. And back to, you know, what Kim was saying, I feel like that happens throughout our lives in various ways, and that pilgrimage is a way to understand the world on a different level, and also to have a chance to follow in the footsteps of those who have come before, those wise ones, those masters, or other spiritual seekers. You know, there's a prescribed path. Within it, you have totally your own experience, like totally. But there's also this amazing conglomeration of being with other people. So there's this, you know, collective element, and then there's this like even more collective universal element, because these ways have been paved by people before us. And yes, there is a super moon, full moon this weekend, so if you're feeling really emotional, that could be why. And it's also really a powerful weekend. If you're feeling really drawn to do anything that utilizes your personal power, now is really a good time to do it. But a lot of people are going to be feeling this full moon, which happens, at least for me and for most of the US, tonight. Kim is saying, I'm being drawn to look at places outside of the States, to areas where I can affect change through remote energy and healing work. So I'm so glad you're here, because ultimately this is what I'm proposing to do. So I want to look at a way of talking to you, Kim, after this, and seeing what can happen. So one more person. So there's this guy, Bruce Feiler. He did this excellent series on PBS. It's called Sacred Journeys. If you haven't seen it yet, please find it. He goes on 6 different of the, you know, big pilgrimages. Like, he does go to Shikoku, which is the one I was talking about earlier that I did. He goes to Nigeria. He goes to Lourdes. He does Jerusalem and the Hajj, to Mecca, and missing one. But they're all great in their own way, and they're super powerful. And so he studies this, and he also wrote this best-selling book called Walking the Bible. And I really like his way of framing pilgrimage, because he says that for most of human history, meaning and identity were mandated upon us. We didn't have a choice, you know. We grew up, we had to be the religion of our family. If we tried to veer outside that, you know, we were like ostracized from the community. Arranged marriages, we didn't get to choose who we love even. We didn't get to choose what we do. Oftentimes we just had to do like whatever was handed down through us throughout our families. We lived in a long time where we were told basically who we are and what we believe. But now things are really different, and now we have a choice. And not only do we have a choice to determine who we want to be with, where we want to work, where in the entire world we want to live, but we get to decide ultimately who we are and what we want to believe. And so as part of my work is dealing with technology, I get super stoked all the time, because technology allows us so much more than ever before. And in the last 20 years, technology allows us to literally reach across time and space and be whoever the heck we want to be, and to learn what we want to learn and do what we want to do. And so this is also the basis of what I am proposing, which I am getting to right now. So the Pilgrimage Project. What I'm creating right now is, on this journey that I'm going through, Crestone, Colorado, to India, to West Africa, and back, I want to take 10 virtual pilgrims with me. So, you know, these are people that, you know, in some way feel inspired to go and to search for their own meaning and their own identity, to figure out who they are and what, you know, what is really going on in this world. Like, is it really just this, or is there more? My proposition is that there is definitely more. And so I've created this kind of program that will allow us, so while I go on this journey out in the world, 10 people will be able to come with me, and through this process that I've created, they'll actually be able to go on their own pilgrimages from wherever they are. So you can either like get on a plane and go somewhere, or you can stay home. But it's not, it'll be like you're actually on the pilgrimage. And so these are the 3 components and the 3 ways that will be incorporated into this process. The first is mind training. And so these are, I'll name the 3 and then I'll go into each one. So there's mind training, energy work, and creativity. So the first component of being a virtual pilgrim, yes, Kim said there's definitely a shift occurring and it's scary but necessary, and I agree. And this is why I think this shift, like during the shift that's happening in the world, is this, I mean, what I'm proposing here is one way to address this shift so that we can go through it and we can be uplifted through it, you know, so that we can evolve with what's happening with the world, you know, because if we stay stuck in our current patterns and habits and ways of being, you know, like things are changing really, really fast. Whether or not you buy into the technological singularity, I don't know. But what is happening is that technology is increasing at an exponential rate. So, you know, that means like if we're at 2 right now, in like 2 years we'll be at 4, and at 2 more years we'll be at 8, and at 2 more years we're at 16. You know, like that's how quickly it's going. This system that we have as humans is outdated technology. The human brain has been around for 2 million years, and it was created like amazingly as a survival mechanism, and it served us really well. But now we're not running away from tigers necessarily, unless you go on a Shikuku pilgrimage like I did and you have to like battle monkeys on a mountain, which is true. That was weird. Anyway, we don't normally like have to use our brains to survive anymore. So what we need is to upgrade this outdated software like inside our heads, so that we can evolve as the world is evolving too. So one part of this pilgrimage project, hi Mosby, I love you. I love the hearts, thanks. You're keeping me going. So mind training, right? Man, my life has been just, I can't even tell you, it's been changed entirely and then like sent onto new levels from doing mind training. And so for me, what I'm incorporating into this project is it's 2 different ways, but there's mindfulness practice, right? And that has 2 components. That has to do with clearing the mind. So you're clearing your mind of negative patterns and habits. They often lead to negative emotions and behaviors and actions, and all they are is patterns. They're not us. You know, our negative emotions are not who we are. They're just something that are perpetuated over and over again. And it's amazing because science now is it's confirming so much, like, you know, a lot of traditions, and Buddhism included, has been for thousands of years, talking about how the world is not as real as it seems, how we, through our minds, are able to create the world around us, and now science is like, yeah, we found this new discovery, you know? But one part of that is neuroscience, and so neuroscience is telling us now that they see how we can actually recreate neural pathways in our brains through repatterning. So we can basically, you know, we can clear the old patterns, the ones that have been holding us back. So if you feel like there's a place in your life where you feel stuck, does anyone feel that? I mean, I have certainly, and you know, when I told the story earlier about how I was in Japan and Korea and how I went on these 2 accidental pilgrimages, you know, I was so stuck at that point and I didn't even realize it. And if not for my amazing friends, Miyu and Jana and Earl and like, you know, these angels that I was surrounded by, I wouldn't have gone on the pilgrimage in the first place. I wouldn't have even known about it, firstly. And second of all, I wouldn't have known how to get unstuck. And so this really started me on some serious mind training. And I've just been like diving in. I'm so excited because I feel like now there's ways to clear negative patterns. And then part 2 of mindfulness is generating the positive qualities that help you in life. Things like gratitude and compassion and awareness. Things that increase synchronicity and ease in your life and ultimately, you know, you are able to manifest what you desire in this world. This is backed by Buddhism. This is backed by a lot of esoteric stuff, a lot of stuff that like seems woo-woo. But stick with me here because it works. So the second part of the mind training is mindset work, which is being active. So at once you're clearing and you're reprogramming, but then you're actively engaging in visualizations and in affirmations and things. I love you, Ellen. Thank you. You're engaging in things that totally get you on the fast track to fulfilling your deepest desires and whatever your soul purpose is. So even if you don't know what that is yet, you have one. Do you know what yours is? Because you have one. This will help you figure it out, and it will help you to really go for it and have it. So the second part of this project is energy work. I have realized working with people, we are connected to each other on levels that are beyond what we see. Energy is for real. And I've been doing some remote healing with people. I've been using Reiki and then voice and sound work. Also elements from the Noguchi Taiso and the Buto, and also then the fields of decay work where we were taking the earth energy. And so for this, I propose I'll be going to these sacred sites, and so I'll be doing sacred site healing, remote healing, where I'll basically be, this might sound crazy, but I'll be channeling the energy of these ancient sacred lands, and the virtual pilgrims that come with me, if you're one or whoever they are, will be able to experience profound healing that will be like 10,000 times of if you're just like doing healing in a living room or something. So this healing is going to be super profound. So it's the second part of the pilgrimage project. The first one being the mind training. The second one is the energy healing. And the third part of this process is creativity. So a lot of you know me from my work as an artist. And here is what I have come to believe. It's like so deeply that even if you tell me no, I'm gonna like say, yes, this is true. And I don't do that about a lot of things. But okay, here's what I think. And this has become the mission. And Alexis is here. Alexis has been a huge part, and Kim, you too, of this whole thing coming into being. And for me realizing that a lot of us, and I would maybe argue to say all of us, at some point feel this spark. And a lot of it has been phrased as the creative spark, you know, this need to make something or do something in the world, to manifest something from your dreams or from your desires. You know, there's this, I think human beings have this natural inclination to want to make, you know, and I think this comes from, you know, this, it's not even an idea, this way that the world functions, in which we actually do, in the way that our thoughts actually create our environments. I mean, that creative spark, I think, is the feeling that that might be true and the impulse to do something about it, you know. And so what I think now, you know, you could call it spiritual realization. In terms of Buddhism, it's called enlightenment. And I really like that phrase because it has that spark element to it. So what I think is that creativity is actually the spark of enlightenment. If you go to Buddha, you know, the Buddha teaches that everyone has Buddha nature within them. We can't always feel it. We don't even necessarily know we have it. And I think that that feeling, that spark of creativity is actually the spark of enlightenment, like calling to all of our being and our senses to pay attention to that and to cultivate that. And sadly, a lot of us live in a culture that doesn't necessarily support that. You know, being an artist, for example, is not, you don't do it for the money, usually. You know, a lot of, I think, creativity in the school system ends up being stifled, and I think there's a lot of great work going on now in school systems, you know, to do something different, but creativity and artistry has not always been something that's been really, really supported. But what I think is that because I believe that this creative spark is actually the spark of our enlightened nature, that we need to feed that spark, we need to feed that flame and let it grow. And I feel like that infects the world around us with positivity. It allows us to actually create the world we want to see. And that's what I've learned through art making, you know, is that the impossible is not impossible. And so this gets to the third question that people ask me all the time, which is, how are you doing what you're doing? And this is exactly what I want to address in the Pilgrimage Project. And I want to take 10 virtual pilgrims with me while I go to Crestone, Colorado, India, to West Africa, and take them on this journey of mind training, of energy healing, of connecting with sacred earth, and also to free our creativity together. It'll be, even if you're doing this program from home, this is like what I'm proposing, so it's in part science spirit research. So it's an experiment, right? And so the virtual pilgrims that come with me are actually also going to be co-creators of what this is, because it's based upon a framework. So there's a framework that I've been researching. It has to do with the different stages of pilgrimage, which oddly enough are related to Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. So I'll throw that out there. So the different phases of the Pilgrimage Project are based upon this structure, which is based upon, you know, like thousands of years of people's experience in doing these pilgrimages. And then at the same point, the virtual pilgrims go on their totally own experience, and we stay connected while I'm literally walking the earth or being at holy sites. People will be receiving transmissions. They'll be receiving energy work, artworks that are coming at you, and at the same time you'll be going through a course that is all about this mind training that I've been researching. So, for those of you that are still here, I'm interested in, does this sound amazing? Does it sound impossible? Does it sound crazy? Is it totally boring? Did I bore you to death? If you can write in the comments, I would love some feedback, because I'm so psyched. And Kim's been discussing the hero's journey in our shamanic studies class. Oh, that she's teaching. Awesome. Yeah, this is profound work, and I mean, it's validated by different spiritual traditions, by different scholars, you know, and science is now catching up. Love you, science. To validate all this. So this is, you know, my proposition for really experimenting with this and really like seeing like how far we can go on this journey, because I think a lot of people also associate the benefits of pilgrimage with doing this really arduous physical task, and I would agree that that is part of it. But what I propose is that because our physical world is not what it seems, all matter is made of energy. As such, that means that all of these particles in this desk that I'm banging on right now, or all these particles in my body, are actually made up of energy, of something elusive as vibrations, right? And so let's just say this is true, because this is what quantum physics is saying now, and this is, you know, what other traditions have been saying for thousands of years. So let's just say this is true. Then we can actually, and I mean actually, experience pilgrimage on levels beyond just the physical. I just gave a dramatic smiley pause because I think that idea is, as Kim said, exciting, needed, absolutely wonderful. Yes, we are on the same page. No woo-woo speak. Ellen's with me. When does the project start? So I am starting it at the end of the month, so it's coming up soon. So I'm unleashing this. Let me get the exact dates in front of me, because, you know, actual dates are not my specialty, but I am going to be with you on this every day. And this will go, Mosby, in over your head. I think some of these comments I have to read also afterwards, so I'm going to go back and read through them because they get cut off on my screen, so I just want you to know. I love you, Mosby. Minson is here. It's amazing and intimidating. Okay, well, I can understand that. And I understand. So Min-sun also is my cousin who I stayed with in Korea, who was like crucial, who really like helped me so much during this hard time in my life, and she's here, so I just want to give her a shout out. And to go back to Mosby, yeah, intimidating. You know, when I first started doing all these, like I said, I was a shattered person, and I was learning all this stuff, and it was really intense. But if you have any questions, I want you to write them, please, in the comments. If you're interested in this, if you have any questions, you can even write yes in the comments here, and I will contact you. I would love to talk to you more about it, so we can schedule a personal call, because I have to get off soon. But I really want to share this with people that it resonates with. So even if it's a little bit and you have questions, or if it feels a little scary, Kim, yeah, I'm calling you, girlfriend. Yeah, please just say yes, and I will do the contacting, because I think this is going to be something. Okay, so to get back to Ellen, the course begins on October 27th, so that's soon, and it ends January 12th, and so it's also based off of the idea of the 40-day transformational journey, right? And so one of the other reasons I feel like we go on pilgrimage is because it is transformational. You know, I don't know anyone that has gone on a pilgrimage that has not afterwards been changed in some big way. And so what it is it's transformation, but it's on a rapid scale, right? So we can do all this work, you know, the mind training, the energy work, and the creativity, and we can do it. And I've been doing it for years. And I wish I had someone who was like, here, come on this pilgrimage. It's going to be super hard, you know, like, or it's going to be challenging, because you're going to face yourself and you're going to learn things about the world that are new ways of thinking. So you're going to stretch, and, you know, it's going to be intense. And then afterwards, you're going to be on a new plane of existence. If someone offered that to me, I would have been like, sign me up now. What do I have to do? I ended up doing all this on my own and all this research, and I'm so glad I did it. I would have it no other way, but I really want to share it with people, because I feel like this work can possibly change the game. So, you know, Mosby, anybody, like, if you're interested in it, and even in the littlest bit, please say yes in the comments. I will contact you. We will talk about it. It's transformational, you know? And these three different elements I think are super important, and they're not necessarily addressed when you go on a pilgrimage, you know? It's mind training, the energy work, in conjunction with the sacred sites and the teachings, and then also the feeding of the flame of creativity, which I believe is the spark of enlightenment. These are the elements to me that I want to take 10 virtual pilgrims on. I want to go through this whole thing, and so by the end of it in January, so this is going to go through January, because it's 40 days of the real heart of the pilgrimage that's going on the journey. Beforehand, we're going to have some preparation, so preparing for the adventure. You know, you got to pack your bags if you're going on a pilgrimage. And then in January, when we get back, there'll be a post, you know, regroup. And so this will also have elements. There'll be a group of other pilgrims that you'll be pilgrimaging with. And you get to decide, you know, when you want to be solo, when you want to be with them. So you'll have a support group and your own individual journey. I think it's, you know, I don't know, I'm super excited. And so if you think of anyone that might be interested in this, contact me. I think you can contact me through Facebook. I think most of you have my emails. If you've said yes already, I will contact you, and we'll talk more about this. And I just thank you all so much for being on this today, all these hearts and all these love. I just feel filled with joy that you're even listening to this. And I want to, you know, determine like who. Like I said, I can only go with a limited group of people, and it's happening relatively soon. So yeah, Kim, I'd love to know. We'll talk soon, and I think it's going to be a magical, transformational journey. So if you're feeling stuck, if you feel like you need an awakening, if you want to be more connected with spirit or find your path and your purpose, contact me. I'm so excited about this, and I look forward to seeing or talking to you more soon. Thanks for being here, and have a beautiful, beautiful day and weekend. And namaste. Ow, I just got stuck. It's Jamie just joined. Kim, big love. Hugs, love you. Mosby, thank you. Everyone who's been here. Jamie, you're here now, but you missed it. Jamie's my collaborator, and I love your hearts and your energy. Ellen, I miss you, and thank you for being here. My family, who is one of the lights of my life, my friends and collaborators, other healers, you're all doing such good work and being such beautiful people in this world. So thank you for being here. I'm pretty sure this video is going to replay on Facebook. So Jamie, I think you can watch it right after this. And I'm really excited to connect with everyone further really soon. This pilgrimage is going to be off the energy charts. Love you all. Bye.